intriguing title, Climate Resilient Agriculture, is the future of food organic? We will get back to this question in the end of our session, but we have a panel of wonderful speakers. I will start with our members first. We have Marko, Kass, who is Director of Research at the Center of Estonian Rural Research and Knowledge. And we have Viira, who is Head of Agricultural Research at the same institute as Marko. And I am Evelin Loit-Harro, and I'm a Professor of Sustainable Agriculture at the Estonian University of Life Sciences. So maybe one comment more about this food production is that agriculture, it is super simple. You just have to do the right thing at the right time and at the right place. Simple, just do it. If we want to make agriculture more climate resilient, we just have to do it more right. We have to be more right in all those things. But the life is not that simple, and we will talk about that. We chose our topic basically to talk about organic agriculture because this is something that Estonia has this very good success story to share. When we, the graph is maybe a little bit small, but the idea is that when we are taking the world statistics of organically managed land, so in Estonia, with its 23% of organically managed land from our agricultural area, we are in the place number 4 in the world. And this is quite significant, it's very significant. And when we look at this European scale, that some years ago, we agreed in Europe that we will take 25% of European agricultural land to be organically managed. And Estonia, with its 23%, we are already almost there. But what we wanted to share is how did we do it? I want to take you back to the year, basically 1992, 1995. This was a time when Estonia Estonia regained its independence, and we had to start all over with building our agriculture. I shared some pictures here. This was the situation just, it's not a long time ago, it's less than 30 years ago. Our agriculture was quite not advanced in terms of technology. We had lots of manpower. We didn't have nutrients in terms of to use in the yield formation. And then this is when it all started. And basically in 1999 is the first year we were officially in the statistics with organically managed land. But it started with the stories that the farmers were like, they had a problem. They had something they needed a solution for. And they went to researchers. Listen, we don't have nutrients. Let's do something about it. How we can use crop rotation. Now we are talking about cover crops. How we can use better varieties. And let's make it happen in a way that we can get the result. We also had this very motivated farmers. That was number 1 thing. Then we had some research. We were able to provide help from the university and from the Breeding Institute. And also we had this knowledge and motivations that we gave to the next students. So we had this educational systems that we started to build in terms of organic agriculture back in the day. And that is the reason why today, these are some pictures from our students, agronomy students. They are farmers themselves, and now, so this is 23 years later, we have this 23% of land being managed organically, but at the same time, we have very high-tech machines in our fields. We have very good crop rotation, we use cover crops, and in systems we have made these very big steps forward. But it is not a short period of time, it is more than 20 years. So this is something that is very important to highlight here as well, since the changes do not come quickly. Some more nice photos, and still until today we have the students and farmers are working very closely together and they are learning from each other both ways. Coming to some resources, in Estonia, 100 years ago, half of Estonia was covered by agricultural land. Today, it is just this 1/4 of Estonia is agricultural land and 1/2 is forest. So picture here is how it's looking right now. It's lots of snow and very cold. And well, it's not exactly 1/4, but very big area of Estonia is covered by wetlands. And if you see it's our pavilion as well, we have some wetlands and we have water. So this is something very important in terms of resources for the other countries as well. But out of those 27% of agricultural land, we have basically 1/3 which is covered by grasslands. And to come back to the organic farming, to be very successful, it works the best if you have animals, because then you can close the loop much better if you don't have the animals. And well, thanks to those grasslands, we can also be more climate resilient. But here, because animal production is something that we do in collaboration, then I would like to give the microphone to Marko to comment on how is Estonian animal production going, and maybe you can also remark that animals say produce lots of methane, right? By their digestive system, so perhaps you will explain that as well.
Okay, thank you. Let's go back to the history, as Evelin already mentioned. So we've been like 30 years independent, but Estonia has been like several hundred years as a dairy production country. So dairy cows has been the sort of main production of animal or livestock production. So we have sort of tradition and knowledge, and based on the statistics, we are in top 3 in terms of milk production in the world. So that means something that we know how to do the business. Now the big question is which part livestock production has in general in livestock. And I would like to believe that you can't separate the livestock and plant production. And they are linked through the manure. So it's sort of like a nutrient recycle. So if we focus only on the plant production, so in long term, I guess we're gonna fail. So we need the livestock production. Now the question is, which way we're gonna manage? Is it like this intensive livestock production, or we should sort of somehow try to boost the organic livestock production? Now, coming back to your second question in terms of the methane production, so make it short, sort of the methane in ruminants like cows and sheep and goats, it's sort of the characteristics showing how well the animals are sort of getting the nutrients or digesting the nutrients which are sort of accumulated in the plants. So it's sort of efficiency. More efficiently the ruminant is digested, less methane will be emitted. So that brings me back to the sort of plant protection. So the plant producer, they need to choose the sort of varieties or crops which are more easily digested in order to release the nutrients which animal can use for themselves, but also for the production. So it's sort of then we go to the sort of plant breeding. So this is sort of the aim for the plant breeders, to give the dairy farmers the varieties which are more digestible. So, and with that we also sort of support sort of the climate targets. So, and in order to sort of, or somehow wrap it up, your question is that livestock production and plant production, they need to work close to each other, because sort of the aim is the same. Did I answer your question?
Yes. For now, definitely. Thank you. But we can come back to that, and I really encourage you to think if you have any questions as well. But before that, this is one aspect. So we have crops, we can manage them in different ways. We have nutrients, we have animals in the systems. That is something we have to integrate really well. And but all this sort of comes back to the data. Like we have talked here, like yesterday and some days, and we talked in the first panel as well, that we need data to make decisions, like at this government level, at the EU level, at the global level. And how can we get the data, which is one question, and the other question is how can we implement this data, how we can use it, how to make it available for each farmer to make the decision. Like I really like this experiment from the soil sessions that you have to take care of your land, taking your conditions, your technology, your knowledge that you have, and how to make more wise decisions. And therefore we have those different applications being developed, and us can talk more about them.
Thank you. I can. Yes, so organic is something that sounds natural, right? In terms of food and agriculture. Organic equals more or less natural in our perception. And we could ask whether digital seems like a natural thing for agriculture. So maybe digital is not so natural yet. It looks like, sounds like a future. But anyway, data is not anything that is new in agriculture. So agriculture has always been quite data intensive industry. So you need a lot of data and information to make decisions. Now, data, as I said, data is not new, and also databases in agriculture are not new. So when we look at the Estonian case, our colleagues here in the previous session mentioned soil map, soil databases. So these run back in 10, 20, 30 years. We also have field parcel registry that runs back 20 years. So we basically know for the last 20 years what crops have been cultivated in each of the field parcel. We also have animal registry. We also have milk recording system. And now this data has been there for many, many years, but our challenges now are a little bit more complex. For example, we need to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in agriculture and increase carbon sequestration. So how do we do it? Here, I think we discuss it at very, very, let's say, general level. So we only, or mainly focus on targets, at global and national level. But what does it mean for the farmer? How do I know what are my emissions at the farm level? So, is there anyone here who has worked with this emission inventory reporting and all those big tables? So, some of you not, so you know how complex it can be actually. And therefore, this is maybe one aspect where we see opportunities for making additional use of this already existing data. So we can use a lot of the data that we have to provide also new information for farmers, because I am not able to start reducing my emissions when I don't know what is my base level and what are the main sources of my emissions. And this is one opportunity we see in Estonia, that we should start combining the different layers and layers and layers of data, starting from the soil map, feed parcels, animal registry, milk recording, and provide this kind of basic calculations for each of the farmers, because a lot of data is there. Of course, we still have data gaps. Everybody has data gaps. So everyone who works with the data always knows that it's very problematic. It's never perfect. And that's an additional aspect. So how can we fill these gaps? So there's a lot of technology, a lot of sensors. Are we able to make them work for us, to bring this data together, how to solve this interoperability of different systems, how to solve the data use right? So there are a lot of questions still to be solved. Now in Estonia we are making first steps. So our, let's say, organizations or government bodies under the Ministry of Regional Affairs and Agriculture are step-by-step building this system of big data for Estonian agriculture to make linkages between different databases and generate algorithms to provide new information for farmers. And when we discuss these issues, we very often come to the question, why are we doing this? And it's not only farmers who ask this question, it's also public organizations and ministries, because they see costs. When we talk with private sector companies, they ask why, because they see that somebody is taking away their market. When we talk to the database holders who actually work with data, they ask why, because they know how difficult it is to get correct data in the database. And this is where we need to think a little bit more broader, again, to look for the opportunities and needs, so we can actually use this data to provide information for farmers to make better decisions. Not that they make bad decisions now, but they have also additional targets now for which they need additional information. This is also a huge opportunity for researchers, because they get new combinations of data that never existed before. For example, we don't know what varieties of wheat cope better with a drought this spring in Estonia. Once we have the, let's say, big data or a lot of data at the parcel level, we can start answering also these questions. Also at the government level, for example, to make effective and efficient policies, we should really understand in which regions and which type of farms have the biggest issues in different aspects of sustainability to target the policy measures. And finally, also we could ask what is the potential for consumers, because for most of us now, when we enter the shops, we are not able to distinguish between more or less sustainable products. So Marko talked about livestock farming. This is a classical example where we see beef as very, how to say, it's usually demonstrated as a product that has huge carbon footprint. But when you look at the studies or meta-studies, you see that actually the variation of carbon footprint is the widest in beef. So you can grow beef with very small footprint and also very large footprint. So, and also this is now open question and also challenge for us how to actually use this lot of data also to provide information for consumers, because it's not so black and white. But I think I should stop here and give back to you.
Thank you. But I would like to ask you one question about this, how to convince the consumer. So that actually one very good example by organic farming is that everyone knows this organic sticker, but as the time has gone on, then we have increasing number of stickers. There are different kinds of stickers, and in Estonian we also have this funny sort of analogies that the word that we use for organic also means like it's a smooth tasting. And so there is a very smart sort of marketing trick to put this, it's not organic product, but it sounds like, but it's like reference, like it's not wrong to say it, but it's like misleading. So I would like to put it as a question for you, that how could we actually make this, like how to reach, we have all this data, we have also stickers in the world, we have all these marketing people, and using, like, can you propose, I know we haven't talked about it before, but can you propose a way how we can make it happen? Like, what would be this the opportunity and the solution for this opportunity?
I think you asked the wrong person, because I have research background. And if you have research background, you always see a lot of problems behind this kind of labels and simplifications and classifications, because you know that it's not from in the scale from A to F that you can evaluate these kind of attributes. So I think the correct answer, or not correct answer, but let's say the approach here would be actually to involve marketing and business people and use their expertise. How to translate this to consumers and businesses in a meaningful way. Of course, I know that my research colleagues are thinking that, okay, that will be a lot of nonsense, because you simplify it so much that you will create some kind of false impression with this kind of labels or grades, but still, I guess that we should at least try, because by the end of the day, it's consumers who actually have most finances in this food system, and not governments or policies. And if we want to make the change, we also need to find ways how to give consumers opportunity to help making this change.
I totally agree, and it's the same boat with you, that it's easier to see the problems than the solutions, but it's something we need to try. And I guess one option is education, starting from the kindergarten. But Marko, so animals, we have talked, like in society in general, we want to be happy. And what about the happy cow? Would happy cow be more climate resilient? Would say emit less methane? Or to put it more simply, what would be something that we can do to reduce the footprint of the cow, the carbon footprint or some methane emissions that they produce? What can we do?
Okay. How many minutes I got to answer this question? So basically the short answer would be the management. So farm management. So I would say this carbon footprint or methane, it relies on the decision made by the management. So this is sort of short answer, but the long answer would be that sort of complex of different issues, starting with animal welfare. So I think this is sort of a new subject for the Estonian dairy farmers as well. So welfare as a general sort of a measurement, because animal welfare itself, it sort of contributes, starting with animal health, up to the sort of management as well. So it's a sort of complex term, but it's closely related to the sort of efficiency or even the environmental efficiency. And just to give you a few examples, so in terms of, as you ask, who is the happy cow, probably you know that the cow never smiles, but the cow indicates the happiness through the body language. So, and of course the cow has a sort of basic needs, as we are. We have like water, good feed, so this is the basic. But there is also, as the animals are social individuals, so this is also essential. So basically there's sort of like a 50 different traits which sort of refers to happiness. But if you want to see sort of, how do you say, the quick reply on your management or whatever decision, I would start with basic things like good quality feed, or the grasslands, well cultivated grasslands with a very nutritious grass. So this is the sort of starting point. Then the water management, whole, which is related to the health management, like veterinary service and so on. So basically it's same like we, if we look after our, eating habits, water consumption, good sleep, so then we are more efficient. And this is basically the same with animals. And this is the sort of message I'm sort of delivering to Estonian dairy farmers. So first of all, look for the basic needs, and then the next one is sort of like, how do you say, the housing, the environment where the animal is, daily basis. So, and this is already, sort of key input in terms of this sort of eco-friendly or this happy cow concept.
you. And I really agree with you, especially with this grassland questions that we do need. But first of all, managing grasslands is more climate resilient. They can tolerate different conditions much better, and we can valorize those grasslands because usually in Estonia we use grasslands in areas where we cannot grow wheat or oilseed crops or silage crops. So, and the grass is something that we as humans do not consume. Probably will not, but who knows. But yes, the production of grasslands is climate resilient, and as you said, like I think it's very important to highlight that the high quality feed will emit, I mean, eventually the cow will emit less methane because of this high quality feeds that we can produce, which is something that is not considered, and especially it's not considered in those carbon calculations, is carbon that is being actually sequestrated by this grassland. Like right now, the grassland, we only think that does it emit, like this is related to the nutrient addition, but at the same time, again, like coming back to the first session example, that with the photosynthesis, when we have more root biomass and everything, we can actually bind the carbon as well and keep it there, which is important. I will, with the final slide, I will give you the word for the final conclusion as well. But before that, coming back to the question where we started, like, can we say that is the future of food organic? If you are looking for the answer, which is black or white, it will not be the place to provide it. What we think is basically a smart balance about different management ways. It cannot be all one way or all another way. And the picture here is not chosen randomly. It is a picture from Estonia this year, close to Viira, and it was in the middle. I would like to start as an agronomist. In the middle is a wheat field that provided the record yield of wheat, winter wheat this year, 12.8 tons per hectare, which is the maximum we have ever received. So this is what I want to highlight is this food security, because all of us, we want our daily bread every day, white bread, as we say, and this is something we need. We do need this material for our food. But at the same time, the very same field, it had in the background, we see this high, luscious forest, which is taking care of this biodiversity in this very close by, in this proximity. And in the front, it was actually not knowledgeable, but it apparently is a farmer we asked. And we had this it was very tall, lots of biomass, lots of flowers. Also, we have this diversity at an edge of the field. So this is something that we can actually achieve, but again, we have to think very well through that what are the conditions we have, what do we want to achieve. But I think it's very important to keep in mind that in agriculture, the aim number one is to produce food for us and feed for animals. And sometimes I'm worried that we are losing it in those discussions, that we only want to grow carbon, we don't want to grow food. But it is, like, I think food needs to come first and needs to be distributed among us as well. And again, like, I think you can be part of also this new era starting. So organic started in 99, basically, or 95, I would say. Today, or basically last year, our young farmers started with a new hot word, or how to call it, regenerative agriculture. So this is something new we are trying out, so I recommend you keep eyes open. And actually we also have this conference, the farmers are doing it, on regenerative agriculture in Tallinn in January. So if you Google regenerative agriculture Tallinn, you will find it. But it's I don't know, it could be a new way or something where we can reach somewhere. But what would you add for the take-home message?
I would actually add, there's something that we have never mentioned here, at least today, is that if you really want to reduce the pressure in the food system, one of the good ways is to reduce food waste and food losses. And we have some pastries here, so my final word would be actually encouragement to all of you to help us reduce potential food waste here after this session. That would actually reduce the pressure in the whole system and give more room to biodiversity and all the good things. Okay, my take-home message would be that when we talk about agricultural production is probably the education. So we have the sort of farmers who have been in the business probably 30 years, but every year the new farmers, entering to the market. So my question is where they get their knowledge or education in order to make the decisions. So probably this is also a message for the research institutes and universities. Or the sort of challenge, how you transfer your knowledge to the farmers so that they can make the right decisions. Or if they want to switch from the conventional farming to the organic farming. So where they get, or what are the other options, for example, the benchmarking. So the farmers teaching to each other, learning through the experience. So I would say that more knowledge transfer in order to make better results in the agricultural production, including in organic production.
Thank you. And in terms of to add to this valorization, I totally agree with that as well. That whatever we grow for food, we need to use all of it to the maximum amount. And this afternoon we will talk about the valorization more in the panel by Reivika and Timo. But I also would like to ask, maybe you have some questions that you would like to ask here right now, or we stay here, so you're always welcome to ask questions later as well. Thank you so much for taking the time and listening, and thank you to all of our panelists. So, thank you.